Well, I first played the Grand Ole Opry for the first time, and of course every time you play it's not the first time. The first time I played it, little Jimmy brought me on, and said new recording artist, Bobby Vinton. No, but actually Porter called me the wrong thing, but and made fun of my hat, but little Jimmy did me right, and so at the end, little Jimmy's road manager came up to me and he said, "Hey, I thought you might like to have this," and little Jimmy had written on a piece of paper my name, and my record label, RCA Records or whatever, and had written it out. And his little intro that he was going to give and wrote on a piece of paper and then threw it away when it was over. So the guy dug it out of the trash and gave it to me, so I got it on my dresser. It was cool. All right, so... Daddy was a back row Baptist with his share of front row sin. Saturday night still on his breath, come Sunday when it come in. Never lead the benediction, never sing in a choir. But he's an angel with no halo and one wing in the fire. And Mama lived by the Bible lived by the bed, where she lies alone so many nights with those scriptures in her head. Pray, please, Lord, forgive him. I know his faith is tired, but he's an angel with no halo and one wing in the fire. And I know he lives a little left to living right, and he's come close to going way too far a few times. But I'd trade 1,000 prayers if just this one prayer would come true. Please believe in him like I believe in you. Well, Daddy's always been there for me, from T-ball to touchdowns. Fix my car and fix my heart when they've been broken down. And though it calls for more forgiveness than most folks might require, he's an angel with no halo and one wing in the fire. And I know he lives a little left to living right, and he comes close to going way too far a few times. But I'd trade 1,000 prayers, just this one prayer would come true. Please believe in him like I believe in you. 'Cause I just can't imagine what heaven would be like if me and Mama made it without Daddy by our side. Lord, could you please remember when it's time to call us higher? He's an angel with no halo and one wing in the fire. Lord, he's an angel with no halo and one wing in the fire.
the way your music's been described, maybe for people who haven't yet heard it, or this is the first time people are talking about it or listening to it. One of the quotes I've read was a John Deere tractor with an airplane engine and a gutter and grace style of writing. Can you tell us about how that came about?
Yeah, you know, gutter and grace to me is just sometimes my songs can take on a thing of do this or don't do this, and a lot of times as a writer you kind of can fall into a trap of coming across preachy. And my whole thing is that I would never ever try to do God's work or try to preach to somebody, but kind of my amnesty has always been that I'm not preaching, I'm just saying, you know, I've been the idiot, and I have. You know, I think people can appreciate, you know, someone giving an opinion or telling somebody else to do something or not to do something based on their own, you know, life or based on their own experience. And for me, I've never been one to get on a soapbox. I've just been one to say, hey, I've been the idiot. And I think people appreciate that.
We were talking a little bit about, you know, writing from your personal experiences, and you recorded as saying, I've been wrong enough to know what right is. And part of that comes into the song. I'm just going to read a verse here of the song, Don't Ask Me How I Know. Don't go to Vegas with your heart broke. Don't bum your cousin for that first smoke. Don't drink the water in Mexico. Don't ask me how I know. Again, probably partly autobiographical and partly stuff that you made up or had other people experience.
Yeah, well, the water in Mexico thing I can testify for firsthand.
I think most people can.
Yeah, the Hard Rock Cafe in Cozumel has no toilet seat in their toilet. Yeah, I know.
You heard it here.
Yeah. You know, there's a line in that song that says, don't quit your high school football team halfway through the season. And for me, that's not true. I mean, my dad was a football coach. I played till they made me quit. They just said,
you know, if you wanted
yeah, you're
to,
not
right?
very big, but at least you're slow. Yeah, and so I didn't get to continue. But if you ever drink a beer about, you know, with 6 or 7 guys, somebody's going to bring up football, you know,
Yeah.
and somebody's not going to know what you're talking about. And somebody is, and they're like, well, I quit. I wish I wouldn't have quit. It's a big regret. And my songs, that's a perfect example of, I don't ever want somebody to hear one of my songs and take it for exactly what it is. I just try to put vignettes in a story that somebody else can plug their own scenario in, you know, because all that was to do was to stand for, hey, you know, no regrets. Don't do something that you would regret.